Hello students, welcome to NV2 Clinical Nutrition and Dietetics class. Today we are going to see the week 2 module 1 of the course under the topic Nutritional Management of Lower Gastrointestinal Tract Disorders, specifically constipation. The learning outcomes of this module includes the student will be able to state the GI tract functions and site of action, list the causes of constipation, list the steps in nutritional management of constipation, apply the knowledge gained to plan daily menu for different age groups having constipation. Firstly, let's look into the normal functions of the lower gastrointestinal tract. The lower gastrointestinal tract helps in digestion, absorption, and excretion. Digestion, though, begins in the mouth and continues in the stomach and also in the small intestine, which is the upper gastrointestinal tract. They are called as duodenum and jejunum. The secretions of the gastrointestinal tract are present in the mouth as saliva, in the stomach as gastric juice, the liver as bile salts, in the pancreas as hormones such as insulin and glucagon, and also pancreatic enzymes like amylases and lipases, and in the small intestine, the part of duodenum where the intestinal enzymes are also being secreted to assist in digestion. The normal functions of the lower gastrointestinal tract includes mostly absorption, absorption of nutrients which are left over by the jejunum, small amounts of nutrients absorbed in the ileum, bile salts and B12 absorbed in the terminal ileum, and residual water absorbed in the colon. As you can see from the picture, the different colors indicate the different sites of action. The digestion and secretion are maximum in the GI tract, upper GI tract, stomach, duodenum, and jejunum, whereas absorption is maximum only in the lower gastrointestinal tract. Intestinal disorders and symptoms occur when there is a change in their motility, change in secretion, change in absorption, and change in excretion pattern. The principles of nutritional care in case of lower gastrointestinal disorders would include to alleviate symptoms, to correct nutritional deficiencies, address the primary problem, and also must be an individual care. The common intestinal problems of the lower GI tract include intestinal gas or flatulence, constipation, diarrhea, and steatorrhea. Today we look into the concept of constipation. Constipation is defined as hard stools, straining with defecation, infrequent bowel movements, and occurs in 5% to more than 25% of the population. The systemic causes of constipation include it could be a side effect of medication. Constipation can also be due to metabolic abnormalities such as hypothyroidism, uremia, and hypercalcemia. Constipation can also occur due to lack of physical activity and exercise. And sometimes constipation occurs due to ignoring the urge to defecate in case of lazy people, or in case of children, or in case of elderly. Constipation can also occur as a vascular disease of the large bowel. Systemic neuromuscular disease leading to deficiency of voluntary muscles also causes constipation. A poor diet low in fiber may also lead to constipation, and sometimes pregnancy may also lead to constipation. The gastrointestinal causes of constipation include diseases of the upper gastrointestinal tract such as celiac disease, duodenal ulcer, gastric cancer, and cystic fibrosis. Diseases of the large bowel including failure of propulsion along the colon, that is colonic inertia, or failure of passage through anorectal structures, that is outlet obstruction. Or it could be because of irritable bowel syndrome or anal fissures or hemorrhoids, sometimes due to laxative abuse. The treatment of constipation includes Encouragement to do physical activity as much as possible. Bowel training: encourage patient to respond to urge to defecate. Change in the drug regimen if possible if it is the contributory factor to constipation. Use of laxatives and stool softeners judicially, and use of stool bulking agents such as psyllium and pectin. A complete food history and a 24-hour recall should be collected to check number of daily servings of grains, fruits, vegetables, nuts and legumes, caffeine intake, fluid intake, exercise and activity patterns to judge the contributory factors which may have led to the constipation. A quick estimate of the fiber intake can also be obtained from a food record based on Marlett 1997 procedure. Multiply number of servings of fruits and vegetables by 1.5 grams. Multiply number of servings of whole grains by 2.5 grams. Multiply number of servings of refined grains by 1 gram. Add specific fiber amounts for nuts, legumes, seeds and high fiber cereals, and the total estimated fiber intake can thus be calculated to have a judgment on the intake of fiber by the patient. Nutrition intervention for constipation includes: eat adequate insoluble fiber of up to 25 to 38 grams per day. Major sources of insoluble fiber include cellulose, psyllium, inulin, oligosaccharides. These types of fiber are primarily found in the skins of fruits, vegetables, wheat, rice bran, and whole wheat. There should be increased fluid intake. They should engage in daily physical activity, and they can use bulk forming agents, example psyllium, as suggested by a physician, and avoid stool retention and practice regular bowel movement. Let's also get to know the difference between fiber, roughage, and residue. Fiber or roughage are obtained from plant foods. Though they are edible portions of plant, they are not digestible by human enzymes. So they cause the residue, that is, the fecal contents, including bacteria, and the net remains after ingestion of food, secretions into the GI tract, and absorption. So whatever is left behind of the roughage after digestion and absorption is called the residue. Precautions on high fiber diets. Sometimes gastric obstruction, fecal impaction may occur when insufficient fluid is consumed along with a high fiber diet. With GI strictures, motility problems, increase fiber slowly. Unpleasant side effects such as increased flatulence, cramps, and diarrhea may also occur when high fiber diet is taken unscrupulously. Hope the concept is clear to you now. If you have any queries, please post it in the discussion forum so that everybody will get to know your doubts, and the discussion will be answered by the tutor. Thank you for your patient listening.